might need to be punished for these other things that I haven't talked to you about yet, because all these others, they can't prosecute a dead man. So.
February 1st, 2012, Anchorage, Alaska. A young woman is working the closing shift alone at a small coffee stand. It's 8:15 p.m. The temperature outside is well below freezing. She checks her phone, waiting for a text from her boyfriend who's supposed to pick her up. The parking lot has been empty for a while. Everything seems normal, quiet, safe. Then, on the security camera, a dark figure emerges from across the parking lot, walking toward the drive-through window. The young woman goes to greet him. She starts making coffee. She interacts with him the way she would with any other customer, until something changes. She takes a step back. Both hands go up. She looks terrified, but watch carefully. In the next few minutes, she will leave behind a clue that may unravel his entire plan. Following his orders, she turns off the front and back lights. It's difficult to make out what's happening inside the coffee stand now, but she appears to be removing money from the register. She stands up, crouches down on the floor, and puts on her coat. The man then asks her to turn around before he leans through the drive-through window and ties her hands behind her back. He then jumps through the window and lands inside the coffee stand. In the minutes that follow, she is trapped, not knowing what's about to happen to her. When they stand up to leave, something has been placed in her mouth. At 8:25 p.m., she exits the coffee stand with the man right beside her. They walk across the parking lot and turn right onto Fairbanks Street before disappearing from view. 8 minutes. That's all it took. 8 minutes for a young woman to vanish, and no one knows she's been taken. But look closer. Inside the coffee stand, there's a light flashing. She left her cell phone behind, which will come as a surprise to police because her boyfriend will receive a text message 3 hours after she disappears. This is the case of Samantha Koenig, and this is what happens when 8 minutes changes everything. It's 2012 in the city of Anchorage, Alaska. Samantha Koenig is living a happy life with her father, James, who loves her more than anything in the world. James has had full custody of Samantha since she was 2 years old and does everything he can to keep her safe. But now she's in her senior year of high school and enjoys spending time with friends. James allowed her boyfriend, Dwayne, to move in with them at his house, knowing it would make her happy. Samantha and her father were very close. He's a very sweet person, a biker type of guy. Samantha was his only biological daughter, and Samantha was his world. Samantha dreams of becoming a veterinarian. Her father has been helping her prepare for that future. She's been saving money for college. She just started working at a new place called Common Grounds, and on February 1st, she'll be working alone on the night shift. Her boyfriend, Dwayne, is supposed to pick her up after work. It's 8:30 p.m. Dwayne arrives late at the coffee stand and finds all the lights off and the place empty. He tries calling Samantha's cell phone several times, but no one answers. Because he was late, Dwayne assumes Samantha simply got a ride with someone else, so he decides to go home and wait for her there. It's 11:30 p.m., 3 hours later, when Dwayne finally receives a text message from Samantha, but the message only confuses him more. It reads, "I know what you did. I'm going to spend a few days with friends. I need time to think and plan. I'm acting weird. Tell my dad." Dwayne is shocked. He doesn't understand what he could have done to make her this upset. He shares the message with James, Samantha's father, who immediately thinks, "This doesn't sound..." It's 3 a.m. and Dwayne can't sleep. He's waiting outside on the porch, hoping Samantha will come home, when he spots a dark figure going through her truck. He yells at the person and runs inside to get James, but when they come back outside, the figure has disappeared. February 2nd, 12:39 p.m. The Anchorage Police Department receives a 911 call.
911, what is the location of the emergency?
I am at Common Grounds Espresso on Old Stewart and Tudor. My daughter works at the Common Grounds Espresso. She's been missing since she got off work last night.
What's your daughter's name?
Samantha Tesla Koenig.
Officer Kevin Pham was the first to arrive on scene. I got a call at the end of my shift about a possible kidnapping of a barista at a coffee stand. I got there and talked to the barista's father and her boyfriend. I was worried when he showed up at 8:15 to pick her up and she wasn't here. So I'm trying to piece things together. I have a father and a boyfriend who say a young woman didn't come home. You get this strange text message and now someone is going through her truck, but they didn't call the police. That would be the most logical thing to do, in my opinion. Officer Pham turns his attention to the coffee stand and speaks with the barista who had opened the shop that morning. It basically looked like someone just walked off their shift. I started to notice a few more things. I looked in my register, looked for the money that should be there. It was gone. Then I looked in our deposit bags. They were all gone. Several officers were on scene. We searched the coffee stand, collecting evidence. I worked and worked and worked, trying to find any type of evidence inside that coffee stand. Not only did I not find anything, there was no sign of a struggle. But everything changes when they get access to the security footage. Detectives queue up the recordings to 8 p.m., approximately when Samantha was supposed to get off work. Right away, they notice she's alone, cleaning and sanitizing things. At 8:15 p.m., a man approaches on foot and walks up to the drive-through window. Samantha goes to greet the man and starts making coffee. She's seen interacting with him on several occasions. At one point, she turns to the window and she reacts. Samantha steps back and raises her hands. Detectives are convinced the man is pointing a weapon at her. She then crosses the coffee counter and turns off the lights. Officers watching the footage then see her go to the register and take out money. She puts on her coat and drops to the floor so he can tie her hands. Detectives have no idea what the man looks like because he's completely out of frame until Samantha moves away from the window. And he jumped over the railing and got in almost in one leap. He just gets in through the window. At this point, it seems like things calm down. He stays in there for quite a while before they leave. The man stuffs napkins in Samantha's mouth and leads her out of the coffee stand. Officers then see them walking together in the parking lot. They then watch the footage over and over and notice some elements that raise suspicions. Right next to the light switch, there's an alarm. If she was in danger, why didn't she trigger the alarm? She had a perfect opportunity to press the alarm button. She didn't. When we looked at the video longer, we noticed there was something like a light reflecting on the counter. The light would come on and then go off. This is Samantha's phone. The phone was ringing every time Dwayne called her the night she was taken. The problem is, Dwayne received this text message at 11:30 p.m. The recording was made from Samantha's cell phone. Investigators fast forward the recording until they spot movement at 11:26 p.m. The person arrived at the coffee stand. That person was using a headlamp. The man came back specifically to get Samantha's phone and left. This also coincided with the first text messages from Samantha's phone arriving at 11:30 p.m. The suspect then sent a misleading text message to Samantha's boyfriend, asking him to delay contacting the police as much as possible. This new situation is frightening. Where was Samantha when the man came back? Was she tied up in his car, being held captive somewhere, or worse? We told the press we have a video, and it's evident from the video that this is a kidnapping. While the police investigation goes into high gear, Samantha's father, James, is leading the efforts to find his daughter. Before completing the purchase and leaving, Samantha was last seen wearing a pair of black fur boots. It was so obvious how much her father cared about Samantha and the close relationship they had. James was devastated by his daughter's disappearance and had no idea where she was or what happened to her. I don't know if my daughter is being fed, taken care of, if she's still alive, if she's able to sleep. Please help find my daughter. The city of Anchorage was on high alert. That this happened so suddenly is frightening. I can't believe this happened here in Anchorage. The Anchorage Police Department asks the FBI for help, but they have very few leads. The first 48 hours in any case are critical. Try to get as many clues as possible. February 4th. Samantha has been missing for 3 days. James Koenig started raising money for a reward fund and donations are coming in by the hundreds. There's a $41,000 reward for her safe return. The investigation expands and the FBI recovers surveillance footage from the Home Depot parking lot across the street from the coffee stand. You could see a couple walking from the parking lot near a busy restaurant to a vehicle. From there, they get surveillance camera recordings from nearby streets. Although the quality of the footage is too grainy to see the license plate, they now have the suspect's vehicle. So we knew it was a white Chevrolet pickup truck that the suspect was using. The problem is there are about 700 white Chevrolet pickup trucks identical to this one just in the city of Anchorage. Days pass, and while investigators pursue every lead, they're no closer to finding Samantha. Days soon turn into weeks. James refuses to sit idly by while his daughter is still out there, so he turns to social media and publicizes Samantha's disappearance. Right now, we're probably getting 2 or 3 tips a day. Whether they're useful or not, I really can't decide. I don't know which way to go. The police are conducting the investigation. Of course, there were trolls, as happens on any social media. There were people who had their own opinion that she wasn't really missing. People can be so cruel. I need to keep my spirits up and know that my heart still feels her presence. And she's okay. James Koenig practically called me every day. Do you have any news for me? Is there something we can do? Of course, I felt a lot of compassion for him. I'm a police officer, but I'm also a father. My daughter was working at a coffee stand at the time. If this happened to Samantha, it could happen to anyone else. It's February 24th. Samantha has been missing for 23 days. James is at a meeting at a restaurant with the search team when Dwayne, Samantha's boyfriend, receives a text message. His face goes completely pale. He rushes to James and shows him the message. A message from Samantha's cell phone, under a photo at Connor Park. Isn't she beautiful? James and his family rush to Connor Park where there's a bulletin board. Under the photo of a dog named Albert, there's a Ziploc plastic bag. Inside, there's a folded piece of paper. This was the first major clue that emerged in the case since we got some video evidence 3 weeks earlier. The letter is a typewritten ransom note. The note confirms Samantha is alive. In the note, he tells us that once he raises $30,000 in 6 months to a year, then he can provide information about where Samantha is. There's a debit card number linked to Samantha's bank account where the funds should be deposited. Along with the ransom note, there's a photo of a young woman. The photo is proof of life showing a woman next to a newspaper dated February 23rd. I contacted James Koenig to confirm if it was really his daughter. I knew it would be devastating for him to see that photo. It was just me and James Koenig in the interview room, and I placed the photo in front of him. He stared at it for a long time and then said, "Yes, that's Samantha in the photo." When James learns about the ransom, he immediately instructs Sergeant Markiewicz to use money from the reward fund. On the same day, $5,000 is deposited into the account. We had a tracking system on the card so that if it was used, we would be notified. However, there was a 10-minute delay in the notification, and 10 minutes in Anchorage at midnight, you can drive out of the city. The city of Anchorage has about 500 ATMs, making it impossible for them to monitor each one. That night, the FBI receives a signal that Samantha's card has been used. Our officers rush to the location, but the suspect had already fled. But what we have is surveillance footage from the ATM. The suspect is wearing a mask so his features aren't visible. He has his hood up and is wearing goggles and is wearing a large padded jacket with Marine Corps written on the back. But the most interesting part is the Nissan SUV the man is seen driving away. This only confuses investigators even more. Since the suspect could only withdraw the limit of $500, authorities are counting on him making another withdrawal. The FBI requests reinforcements and sends agents to all publicly accessible ATMs in the city of Anchorage. But the next time he uses the card will be on March 7th in Wilcox, Arizona, more than 4,000 miles away. The FBI contacts authorities in Arizona, but due to the 10-minute delay, the suspect had already fled. When they received the ATM footage, investigators spotted the same man hiding his identity, but the car he was driving now was a white Ford Focus. That ATM withdrawal occurred on March 7th. There's another one the same day in Lordsburg, New Mexico. On March 10th, there was a withdrawal in Humble, Texas. And the next day, there was another withdrawal in Shepherd, Texas. All this time, we kept asking ourselves, is Samantha with this individual? Is she in the vehicle? The FBI contacts the Texas Rangers and agents issue an alert to watch for a white Ford Focus. I get in my patrol car and go out patrolling. I look to my right and the first thing I see is a white Ford Focus. So I called the Ranger. We dropped everything we were doing and told Brian, "Don't lose that car." While FBI agents are on their way, Texas State Trooper Brian Henry follows the white Ford Focus at a distance. We need enough evidence to stop him, so try to position yourself to catch him speeding or find another traffic violation. The white Ford Focus is 2 vehicles ahead of me. The acceleration was quick. So I said, "Wait a minute, he might be speeding." We checked with radar. He was going 58 in a 55 zone. Officer Henry activated the emergency lights. The car stopped at a local restaurant. As I approached, I realized we could be dealing with a kidnapping suspect. As he approaches the vehicle, he looks in the back seat hoping to find Samantha, but the driver is alone. However, he knows there's still a possibility she's in the trunk. I kind of stopped and looked through the window to see, if I could see his hands. Through the driver's license, he discovers his name is Israel Keys. Texas Rangers and FBI agents quickly arrive on scene and take control of the situation. Agents are running out of options. If Samantha is in the car's trunk, they need to open it quickly. When they open the trunk, Samantha Koenig was not there. But what they discover directly links Israel Keys to her kidnapping. A gray hooded sweatshirt, a mask, gloves, and goggles. The same disguise seen in the ATM videos. In his pockets, they find Samantha's cell phone and debit card. Investigators in Alaska use the name Israel Keys and execute a search warrant on his home. I immediately sent our officers to Keys' residence to check if Samantha was being held captive inside the house or being held there. When they arrive at the house, the first thing they notice is a white Chevrolet pickup truck and a silver Nissan Xterra SUV. Special Mission Unit officers entered the house. We then searched the house, but Samantha wasn't there. After searching every square inch of the property, they found no evidence that Samantha had even been there. There was a shed separate from the house. The entire shed was placed on a flatbed and taken back to the FBI building here in Anchorage. When the FBI investigates Israel Keys' life, they discover he has a girlfriend and a 10-year-old daughter. He owns a construction company and has never had trouble with the law. On the outside, no one would say he was capable of doing something like this. U.S. Federal agents informed the court today that Israel Keys is in custody in the District of Alaska. The FBI hopes to get Israel Keys to talk. Only he knows where Samantha is, but upon being extradited back to Alaska, Keys learns through his lawyer that computers from his house have been seized. So he makes the most unexpected move. It's 3:48 p.m. on my watch. It's March 30th. Do you understand your rights? Yes. And are you willing to waive those rights to talk to us? Yes. He figured that having his computer, we would be able to find important evidence. I think everyone really wants to know where Samantha is. Is that a good starting point, or would you prefer to start somewhere else? Yeah, we can open a map there of the Palmer area. Okay. Keys directs them to an area north of Anchorage toward the Matanuska Valley. At Matanuska Lake, how many meters from the shore or a few meters from the shore? Right there. And he points to a spot on the lake. And what should they specifically look for? Ice fishing spot. Was it a hole you opened, or was it already there? No, I opened the hole. You'll see. You'll probably see where the hole was. And Israel Keys said that's where we would find Samantha Koenig. We knew Samantha Koenig had passed away. We knew there was no more hope. Early today, a team of forensic divers discovered in Matanuska Lake what they believe to be Samantha Koenig's body. Many people I know are heartbroken right now. Everyone was rooting for her until the end. We just couldn't believe it. Our feelings to the family. It's absolutely devastating. Samantha's father, James, is at home surrounded by family and friends when he receives the news. Silence takes over the environment. James's worst fear has come true. I would like to welcome you all to the celebration of Samantha Koenig's life. James was devastated to learn she wouldn't be coming back. James won't have grandchildren. James will never be able to hug his daughter again because of this despicable individual. When did you first meet Samantha Koenig? Never met her. Never even saw her before. So why did you go to the Common Grounds coffee stand that night and at that time? Because they stayed open late. In his interrogation, Keys gives details of what happened with Samantha. I had my police scanner and had it in my ear. He tells her not to trigger the alarm because he'll know if police have been notified and he'll harm her. I told her we were going to take a little walk. We were only about 30 meters from the coffee stand, maybe 60 meters, and she tried to run away. I knocked her down. After that, she realized I was serious. After that, she didn't give me any more trouble. She kept trying to talk to me, and I had to tell her to shut up a few times because she was, she's trying to make friends and stuff. She's doing what she should be doing. She's really trying to become a better person to him, and she's trying to do what she needs to get out of this situation. As he drives through Anchorage, Keys asks for Samantha's cell phone. When she says it's at the coffee stand, he turns around and goes back. She tries to convince him there's an alarm on the door, but he doesn't believe her. He needed the phone to send the message to Samantha's boyfriend, which would ultimately give him some time before police were notified of her disappearance. So Keys takes her to his house and leads her into the shed. At that moment, his girlfriend was at home and still awake. His daughter was also at home, sleeping. Keys doesn't think twice about keeping Samantha captive just meters from where his 10-year-old daughter sleeps. After tying her to the wall and turning on loud music, he asks for Samantha's ATM card. That's when he discovered she had left it in her boyfriend's truck, and that's when he abandons Samantha and goes back to Samantha's residence, gets into Dwayne's truck, and finally finds the debit card. It's at least 3:30 a.m. Israel returns home and now will execute his plan. That same night, Israel Keys took Samantha's life. The next morning, Israel resumes his normal life, wakes up his daughter, and packs her bags. They're going on a family trip to New Orleans where they'll stay for the next few weeks while Samantha's body remains in the shed. But the most disturbing thing is what he does when he comes back from the trip. He puts the next part of his plan into action. To get the ransom money, he pretended Samantha was still alive. So he bought an old Polaroid camera at a thrift store. The photo he staged was designed to make it appear she was still alive. In reality, Samantha had already passed away before police were even notified of her disappearance. The details of what happened to his daughter were not shared with James Koenig, but he's convinced she wasn't Keys's first victim. He creates a Facebook page to reconstruct a timeline of Keys's whereabouts between 2004 and 2012. He titles the page, "Have you met Israel Keys, possible serial killer?" All James wants is closure for other families who may have lost someone. But when reports start coming in, the FBI is flooded with accounts. After several missing persons cases across the country, they decide to ask Israel Keys directly, "Are there any other people whose passing you consider your responsibility?" "I have many other stories to tell if you're interested." Keys says he's willing to talk, but he wants it done on his terms. He knows he has the advantage. "There are certain aspects of things I did that I would prefer never became public. The reason Israel Keys doesn't want this to leak is because he doesn't want his daughter to find out. This doesn't stop him from enjoying the attention. I think he likes to just sit there, maybe feeling some kind of pleasure. By telling these horrible stories so casually, he knows he's probably shocking the investigators. As it turned out, James Koenig was right. Israel Keys is a serial killer, and he's been doing this for many years. He explains how he planned each of his crimes and how he avoided being detected. He would bury these kill kits in specific areas and then return to those locations to commit the next crime. He would have rope, gloves, duct tape, and plastic zip ties. In some of them, he would have a weapon inside. Keys may be talking, but investigators are having difficulty getting the name of each of his victims. They spend days talking to him, hours on end, yielding to each of his demands. Until one day a TV news channel makes this announcement. A Channel 3 news investigation over the past few months has led us to identify the man accused of ending the couriers. He discovers his name has been released and stops talking. I have no reason to give you more information. May 23, 2012. Israel Keys has a court hearing scheduled. There are reporters from all news channels, but video cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom. James Koenig and his family are present. I expected it to be super quick, literally 1 or 2 word answers like, "Do you say you're innocent or guilty?" And it turned into something else. At this specific moment, we're not, "Get him! Get him!" Keys leaps from his chair over the protective railing that separates him from the rest of the audience. One of the agents grabs him at the last minute and throws him to the ground while another shoots him with a stun gun. Without making a sound, Keys jumped the railing where family and friends of Samantha Koenig were sitting together. James Koenig, Samantha's father, refused to comment outside the courtroom. The next day, I interviewed Israel. What changed since yesterday? More handcuffs. On November 29th, investigators only had 2 names, but Keys refused to cooperate further. After 40 hours of interrogation over 8 months, Israel Keys goes silent. 3 days later, a prison guard does a routine check on Keys's cell and encounters a shocking scene. Federal inmate Israel Keys was found deceased in his cell. Many people were glad about his passing. They think it was what he deserved, but he took a lot of information with him. Investigators are certain Keys ended the lives of 11 people, but for now, they only have 3 names: Bill Courier, Lorraine Courier, and Samantha Koenig. However, Special Agent Kat Nelson is convinced more cases will be solved and continues working so that the families of his victims can finally have closure. It won't be easy by any means, and it may take a long time, but I'll never give up trying. As for James Koenig, Samantha's father, it was thanks to his tireless efforts that a serial killer was finally captured, ending his reign of terror. Since his daughter's passing in 2012, he created an organization that helps others find missing family members. The program aims to assist in searches, offering support and counseling. It's called Searching for Alaska's Missing, or SAM for short. Family and friends are also mobilizing to pass a bill that aims to improve workplace safety across Alaska so that what happened to Samantha never happens again, which is why it was named the Samantha Koenig Safety Act. To date, they are still working to pass this bill and are asking for public support. Although James lost his only daughter, she will always be in his heart, and through his work, he is ensuring that Samantha's memory remains alive. Thank you for watching this true crime documentary. If you appreciate thorough investigative coverage of cases like this, Please like and subscribe for more in-depth documentaries. Remember that workplace safety matters, that communities looking out for each other matters, and that the legacy of victims like Samantha continues through the positive changes their families fight to create. See you in the next video.